This is an informational video to give you a brief description and show you the correct implementation of the 1-2 curet and the 13-14 curet. Some of the design characteristics of these curets are a face tilted in relation to the lower shank, one cutting edge, a long complex functional shank, a rounded toe, a rounded back, and a semicircular cross-section. These curets are what would be considered area-specific curets, meaning that they are designed for use only on certain teeth and certain tooth surfaces. Here is a photo of the 1-2 curet. This curet is used for all of the anterior teeth. The correct working end is selected if the instrument face tilts towards the tooth surface when placed against the midline of the facial or lingual surface. We will now see a demonstration of its clinical use. Here's an example of the use of the 1-2 curet on the facial surface of the mandibular interiors, sides toward. If you notice, our operator is inserting at the midline with a 0-degree insertion and walking the curet, keeping the 1/3 toed adapted to the tooth. She's walking it from the midline to the interproximal surface. Here's an example of that same 1-2 curet on the lingual surface of the mandibular anterior teeth, sides towards. Again, starting at the midline with the 1/3 toe adapted to the tooth surface, and our operator taking small walking steps toward the interproximal surface. Don't forget that 0-degree insertion. Here's a photo of the 13-14 curet. This area-specific curet is used for the distal surfaces of the posterior teeth. The way to determine the correct working end is by checking to see if the lower shank is parallel to the distal surface. We will now show you the clinical application of this curet. Here's an example of the 13-14 curet being used in the buccal surfaces of the maxillary posterior teeth. Our operator makes sure she has the correct end by making sure the terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the tooth. She then places the terminal shank parallel to the distal surface in the get ready zone, near the distofaccial line angle. She lowers the instrument handle and hugs the face of the tooth surface close to 0 degrees so she can insert beneath the gingival margin. When she feels calculus, she raises the handle to a working angulation of about 70 degrees and uses a pull stroke. Here is another view of the use of the 13-14 curet on the lingual surface of the maxillary posteriors. Again, she begins in the get ready zone, hugs the tooth surface at 0 degrees, and goes beneath the gingival margin. When she needs to engage the blade, she raises it to 70 degrees.